All right, everyone. We're going to get started in a couple of minutes, but I just want to check in a little logistics, just make sure that you can hear me at the very least, and you may be able to see me. We'll see if you can see my screen, and I might even just like figure out how I can turn the audio on from you guys for a minute and just hear a big like hello shout out to everyone. Okay, I know a lot of people are still trickling in, but I'm just going to say hello to a few. So, hi, Sylvie, and Terry, and Monique, and Marie, and Julie, and Annette, and Elaine. Welcome to the webinar. Okay, and you guys may notice that there's actually a little hand sign, so just want to like note that right now, so that as we work through that, you might be raising a hand later, and when we open up to Q&A, then you can certainly raise your hand and say hello, and I will take your questions and like unmute you and everything. Very cool. But yeah, just let me know that you guys can hear me in the little chat box there, or if you can see me, and just make sure that we're rolling okay. And also to get really comfy, get a glass of water, which is always nice to really hydrate, and a pen and paper, because we're gonna do lots of content. And if you're like me, I love to take notes, and you actually know that sometimes if you write things down, it anchors the learning a little bit more, so it makes things a little bit more exciting and interesting. So yeah. There we go. Okay. You should be able to hear me now. If you couldn't hear me before. Yeah, so if one of you guys just want to, or you guys want to take a quick moment and just say hi in the chat box, and should be over on your right. There's a little control panel when you logged into the webinar. Some of you are on the phone, so you won't necessarily see that, but if you're signing in on the web, then you'll have no problem. Just say hello. And while we let everyone sort of roll into the call, just share with me your nice gal mistake or struggle, or what the thing, like really what kind of brought you into the webinar today. And I can get to know you a little bit more, and we can start to dig a little bit deeper. Okay, and I'm thinking some of you might be doing that, and I'm not able to see at the moment. Ah, there we go. I had it in the chat. Hello, Mary Jane. Great, you can hear me. Awesome. Yeah, wow. Ooh, get dumped by a nice guy. That's even harder than getting dumped by the emotionally unavailable, not so nice guy. Okay, I hear that. Thank you. Great. Thank you so much, guys. Letting me know that you can hear me. I really appreciate it. Okay. Fantastic. Well, I just really want to congratulate you all for making the time and taking this step. I know a lot of you are in the 10-day No More Nice Gal challenge with me, and I'm really I'm loving the interaction there. I'm loving the dialogue. I'm really, really jazzed up about the participation that's happening there, about being able to share this content with you. I am a nice gal. I like to say I'm a recovering nice gal, but I think that recovery is a continual process. So I think I'm like it's like the nice gal progress and process. It's like we spend our whole lifetime becoming, more enlightened, more aware, more loving, more abundant, more capable in our manifesting our skills and our abilities, and that personal growth and that development always continues. And so, as we really speak today, I really want you to just wear a hat for a moment that really looks like, I'm learning, I'm growing, Mary Jane, I can do this, or Sylvia, you say to yourself, Sylvia, I can do this, or Terry, you say to yourself, Terry, I can do this. There's power in being able to speak to yourself in that way in terms of empowering your capability, and that you really just see this as a step along the progress, or a step along the path, and that you're continuously progressing. Nice gals can be notorious for being incredibly hard on themselves and perfectionistic. So I really just want you to, try on or wear or put a hat on, imaginary hat if you need to, that just says, progress, like I'm in progress. And to really, even as you might get flooded with some negative emotions or memories from the past or regrets or guilt or different things that might come up sometimes in the nice gal training, I really also want to invite you to flood yourself with the emotions and the good feelings of celebration and congratulation, and really acknowledging how far you've come, and just that even showing up for yourself here in this platform, in the nice gal community, in the 10-day challenge, is really just that stepping forward into your commitment to yourself. And that part of being a nice gal is always showing up for others. So now you start to learn how to show up for yourself and really put you first. And so I just really honor your commitment for taking the time to be there for yourself, and just to obviously also allow me to share from my experience. I always say I took the long, hard road to love, so you don't have to. And that's really so that, you can transform all of your nice gal ways, and really avoid a lot of the mistakes that I've made or I've seen clients make, and just progress along your path. And the beautiful thing is that nice gals at their absolute core are empathic, humanitarian, they're givers, they're the teachers and nurses and healers and helpers of the world. They are, and the social workers, the caretakers, the mothers. They really are truly powerful women that are intuitive and strong and insightful and sensitive in the best way, although you might have heard that as being too sensitive or emotional at times in your life. They really do just have a very gifted side of who they are. And I think that sometimes when we've been too nice in an imbalanced way, in a way that has harmed ourselves, where we've loved others before we've also put our own self-love and happiness first, we've kind of lost that balance, and the giftedness of who we are really gets lost. So before I really dive into the training, I wanted to really acknowledge you and that, and to get you to acknowledge it for yourself. So if you want to share, just pop over in the comments again and share with me a little bit about, or one of, your nice gal gifts. So it might be intuition. It might be, that you are empathic, that you truly do know how to be kind, versus nice. And if you haven't heard that distinction from me, I'll share a bit more about that, I'm sure, on the call, or you can ask me about it later in the Q&A. So, what is your nice gal gift? Sorry, there's a bit of a delay in here too in some of the chats, but yeah, I'm now getting some of your guys' struggles with. Yeah, I love it. So we'll definitely talk about those. I love it. Julia said compassion. Thank you. Yeah, you can. Oh, by the way, you can see your entire desktop. Oh, I love that. That's great. I love that. Thank you for letting me know that. Whoever just said that. Oh, well, let's do that. And sorry, I'm learning all these controls, so I haven't quite. There we go. Maybe now you can just see me. Great listener. Thank you. Excellent judge of character. I love that. I love that. And that was from Marie. Empathic. I share that one, so I understand. Intuitive. Someone else said. Still seeing my background image. Okay. You should actually be seeing me. You guys not seeing me? You should be seeing me. Oh, we'll get this eventually. Webcam. Share my webcam. Share my webcam. I would think that would make me visible. We see you too. Oh, you do see me too. Okay. Yeah, okay, good. Nope. And then it went back. Okay. Maybe you see me now. Top of the screen. Yeah, technology. I tell you that is one of my challenges, guys. So I'll just bear with me with the technology. It's where I'll still make the whole time really worth it for you. Okay. Great. Let me move to the screen sharing, and we're going to share my main screen. It looks like that's what I do to fix that. I'm going to escape from that, and I'm going to go onto the screen of my slides. Slides. Now we should see slides, everybody. Okay, great. All right. Okay, so welcome to the Anatomy of a Nice Gal. Why being too nice isn't really your fault, and how to unhook from the drama of settling for less than. Nice gals, like I said, have that tendency to overgive and to accommodate, to please, to perfect, to try too hard, to basically compensate for somewhere along the line that underlying message that they heard that they weren't good enough. And now everybody has that, but nice gals have a different anatomy of how they express that and how they move through that. And so being too nice, really, why I say it isn't your fault, it is your responsibility, but it isn't your fault. And the reason why it isn't your fault is because there's an actual psychological reason. There are a bunch of triggers about why we end up being too nice. And I was really fascinated by this because I had the privilege of being able to speak to a lot of women in the love and dating area who were not typically a typical nice gal, who could describe to me, when I got very curious and dug deep, about at least one or two men or experiences that they had in their relationship love life where a man made them feel insecure, where a man triggered those too nice, too needy, too desperate, too obsessive, overthinking, over trying, figuring out, convincing, changing, supporting, helping, healing, all of those types of behaviors. And they kind of related to at least some of those things that they kind of got trapped into. And so there's really two things that I want you to think about as you go into some of the deeper questions and the learning that I share today is are you walking into the relationship with some insecurities that have to do with unworthiness and I'm not good enough, and how you're playing those out into relationship? And by the way, it could be a bit of both or more one than the other in different relationships. Or are you really just continually choosing a man who makes you feel insecure and asserts, redefines, re-delivers all of that nice gal behavior back up to the surface. So it really is like a twofold path here, that we really want to stop dating. And I heard some of you put that in the chat as well. If that's your struggle of dating emotionally unavailable men or unavailable men that are like gay, married, single but not interested in a relationship, or player, so incapable of loving in that way. So dating men who are not available to love, don't know how to love, are flawed, toxic, addicted in some way, all of those things make them unavailable. So they're not able to actually show up for you. And then the nice gal is just like really hooked into that, because if I can just fix him, help him, support him, he says how wonderful he is and, wonderful I am, then he's going to fall madly in love with me. And then by changing him, I can change how he feels about me, and then he'll fall in love. Now, none of that is conscious, but that's the mental thinking that a nice gal goes through. So on one hand, in the path, we really want to shift the loving men who can't love us back pattern. And we really want to shift the walking into a relationship with a nice guy or with a secure guy, or a more healthy relationship, and then causing drama or causing upset or causing things because we are carrying over insecurity from those other guys that we shouldn't have dated before in the past. Okay, so really my goal for our time together, and for always my goal in all of my training and work and why I do this, is to inspire and guide you to stop being nice so that you can really finally get the love that you desire and you deserve. If you're here on this call today, it's because you feel like there's a block or a struggle to actually feel supported and cherished and heard and listened, and to feel like your needs are being met in a relationship. Or you're in no man's land and you really just can't seem to find that person who's really going to show up for you. And or you are attracted or being drawn to men who really just can't be there. It's like I've been there, done that. You might be thinking, okay, well, I dated that guy and I dated this guy, and I'm, and I keep trying really hard, but I just find that I'm always ending up single and stuck. Why is it? Why is that? Okay, so you're in the right place if you've been chasing after love. So if you're that nice gal that initiates and suggests and encourages him, pursues him out of the fear that if you don't help him, then nothing's going to happen and the relationship isn't going to go anywhere, or you've been dating for a while and you're trying to move him closer to commitment, so you're doing that suggesting and encouraging, pursuing, initiating, trying hard type of thing, then you're in the right place. If you are the type of nice gal who anxiously performs for love, so this is where you really are trying to convince a man how great you are to fall in love with you by showing him how amazing and how funny and how beautiful and intelligent, accomplished, or sweet you are. I call those my performers. So that's the nice gal performer, then you're in the right place. If you are pushing for his time, his energy, his commitment, his attention, despite his withholding or distancing behavior, then you're definitely displaying that trying too hard nice gal. You're in the right place. If you're trying hard to figure out how to date, or how, that's supposed to be not who, how to get the guy, avoiding mistakes or just doing this whole thing right, then you are definitely in the right place. And if you're asking him to change, if you're trying to control the outcome of the relationship, and make it, so that you can feel more safe and more secure, then you're in the right place. Okay. So again, who am I? I'm Mary Jane. I'm a love and dating and really started off as a life coach, started as a business coach. Expansive and exciting for me, and really came into the specialty of love because I've been life coaching for a long time, and my clients kept coming to me with love issues. And I have to say, it was also my area of tremendous learning and growth. It was the area that I continuously seemed to trip up, or at least the one that caused the most amount of distress and pain and struggle for me. And I was watching my clients go through the same thing. And so really it was my own struggles that was the impetus, and my clients, of course, begging me to address that more, and beginning to address it as I was learning and progressing in that area, that brought me to this. And I really, selfishly, in the best of ways, in my mission and my intention, was to take all of the heartache and all of the pain and all the suffering that I had experienced, and also that I watched my clients experience. And I thought, I can prevent this. Like, I've made these nice gal mistakes, and they've made these nice gal mistakes, and we've kind of taken the hard, long way to finally get to a place of happiness and self-love and worthiness and security and even audaciousness and boldness and confidence within ourselves. And, but it was a struggle, and it was hard, and there was a lot of unnecessary suffering and heartache that happened in between there. So for those of you on the call, even if you've had sort of that long road to love so far, wherever you are, it's really my goal to create a heartache-free path to love for you. And that doesn't mean it's a vulnerable free one or a risk-free one, but it can absolutely be a heartache-free one where you're not devastated, you're not on the floor sobbing, you're not obsessing, you're not wishing, you're not regretting, you're not feeling guilty, you're not going, what if, and did I waste all my time, being hard on yourself, beating yourself up, struggling to figure this all out. I really want to bring it down to the simple path that you can free yourself of this struggle to find love. You don't have to earn love or prove that you're worthy to be loved in order to get there. And so really the nice gal path is not about abandoning all of your brilliance as a nice gal. It is abandoning the struggle to convince anybody or anything or anyone or even the part of you that feels unworthy inside that you are anything less than whole and imperfectly perfect. And when you come to that place and that foundation within you of feeling fully worthy and fully confident, and you know that deep down to the very core of you, then any ripples kind of coming up in your life and triggers or different things around you, they start to fade and go into the background. So my intention for you is that you abandon the struggle to get love and to earn love, to prove you're worthy of love, to try hard to get love, to convince someone for love, to seek for love, or to avoid love for those of you who sought it for so long and just sort of gave up along the way because it became too despairing, too depressing, too daunting, too exhausting to continue to keep burning yourself out trying to get there. Don't despair. You're in the right place. You can recover, and it really is letting go of any of the fear-driven, anxiety-driven triggers and stuff linked to the unworthiness so that you can feel worthy and actually open yourself to receive. And then it becomes an easeful path. You're not struggling to try to make things happen. Things actually will start to come to you, including love. So there's really a 10-step path, a critical 10 steps for every nice gal to move into her recovery. And does this look familiar for those of you who are on the 10-day challenge? In the 10-day challenge, we have the 10 steps, which is really my 10-step process. Within that is the 7-step worthiness, love-worthy path. But for the purposes of where we are here is those 10 steps. These are the 10 shifts, awarenesses, perceptions, attitudes, mindsets, that practices that need to be in place in order for you to come out the other side, no longer nice, but extremely kind, right? So having all the best of who you are, all your nice gal giftedness, but none of the struggles. So the first one is to, step 1, admit that you're too nice. Step 2, to commit to you and put you as a priority in your life. I would say put you first. To get support, I'm just going to run through these and then we're going to deepen into step 4 and 5 today. To be no more nice gal. So that's what we're really focusing on today is what's the no more nice gal shift that needs to happen. Number 5, to identify the hooks or the things that are driving it. Okay, it's unconscious pain, emotions, beliefs, agreements, deep down from wherever in the past that they were rooted in there that are actually compelling you to act in nice gal ways. How you know this might be true for you if you're one of those people on the call is if you can recall a moment when you're aware of your nice gal pattern, but you're watching yourself act out that nice gal way. So you're seeing yourself in that moment wanting to say no, but finding yourself saying yes, and you're wondering, how is that happening? It's probably because there is an underlying belief or fear or, again, a hook, emotional hook that's driving you to act in that way. Number 6 is to create a practice, and this is a unique one that begins to undo. So if you're no longer being nice, what are you doing instead? If you ever want to make a powerful shift in your life, the absolute best way to do it is not to focus on what you're getting rid of, but to focus on what you're inserting into your life, to the new commitment that you're making. And so that's the beautiful part of that. And, you can be really willing to make a change, but if you don't have a practice, if you don't have support, if you don't have a guide or a step-by-step process to really get you there that is a proven path to getting results, then you're going to kind of be stuck. And if you're not yet willing to do it, you can have a guaranteed path and you still won't make progress. So really what I'm inviting you today is to only make that commitment to be fully willing and show up, but to use this system and start where you are, baby step by baby step, so that you can actually break free. And the other one is to be selfish, or I like the word self-full. So to really decide and determine that, I matter. I'm going to show up for me. I'm going to put me first, so that I stop trying to get something from out here. Then I'm expectant. I'm needy. I'm leaning on others for validation, approval, acceptance, support. And if they don't give it, then there's this emptiness, right? But if you're filling up your love cup, it's a lot easier to magnetize people to begin to top that off, add to it, add different flavors, and create like a richness into your life. So being selfish is coming up in day 7. Loving yourself. And, deeper than just, I love myself, like I'm doing something nice or pampering myself, and that's all really well and good, but it's really loving yourself at such the deeper level that you know that you're worthy and deserving of love, no matter what mistakes that you've made in the past, no matter how much crappy, shitty, horrible, suffering, undeserving things happened in the past, no matter what shame you might be carrying from any actions that you made that felt incongruent or not loving of yourself or another person, that despite all of that, despite anything that might be back there, you still are fundamentally and innately worthy of love and deserving of it. And really will anchor that on a deeper level. And yes, that includes self-care and self-love and being committed to yourself and showing up for yourself and going for your dreams and your goals and all of those other things. So all those other expressions of loving yourself, definitely, but it really is claiming that innate worthiness. And we're going to talk more about that today. Step 9 is in courageously engaging into your life. Nice gals can avoid responsibility for their life by helping, serving, and fixing others. This is unconscious. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're always afraid or don't believe in yourself, but I find that's very common, is that nice gals doubt their abilities, they doubt their worth, they doubt their capability, they doubt their giftedness, and they doubt that they can actually actualize the things that they dream of, the things that they desire so deeply, because they've had so much disappointment and more heartache than they ever should have. And because of that, it's so much easier to just be needed, to help and support other people, to give and help and fix, and get very busy and sort of distracted in all of that, and forget to really go for what is deepest in their heart, what they most want to achieve and accomplish. And so here's a really great place as well, just to take a moment to acknowledge and type in for a moment, if you can, what it is that you have not done because you didn't believe in yourself or because you were so busy taking care of others that you put yourself last. And if there's any moms in the call, they'll definitely relate to that. The children come first, everything else comes first, and their self-care and some of the things that are their ambitions or desires kind of go to the wayside. So I'd love to hear from you. What is the thing that you've let go of? The other thing is, I always look back and I think, all those years that I obsessed about men, about dating, and about love, I would love to get back all those hours that I wasted trying to figure out what he was thinking, why he wasn't loving me back, why he wouldn't commit to me, the tears and all that stuff. I'd love to get all that back again. So, what is it for you that you'd like to reclaim? That is your desired goal and dream. And it could be something as simple as, a hobby that you let go of, Are the wasted time that you'd like to get back? And if you had that time, what would you have done with it? So what's the dream that you have for you? You can call it a goal as well if a dream is too big, but that's that vision of your life. Yeah, I heard someone say I married the wrong man and stayed for too long. I wish I could get those 14 years back. Yes, I really relate to that. Yeah, and Sylvie, what I would invite you to ask and deeper in that is, what were you longing to have or experience or feel in that time that you want to claim now? So some of you might not have the picture of the vision. It might not be a hobby or a goal, but it might be a feeling. It might be that thing that you've been longing for it. You've been longing to be cherished. You've been longing to be seen. You've been longing to relax, to have space, to just feel safe or feel secure. So some of you, it might be a feeling, and I just really want to invite that. Yeah, caring enough to walk away from an unhealthy relationship. Beautiful. And yeah, so Terry, it's that commitment to put you first, right? I call it putting my happiness first. That commitment changed everything in my life. And for those of you who are familiar with the TLC commitments, that's one of them, is to put your happiness first. And I love that. And you can borrow that, Terry. You can write your own commitment that's really about showing up for you and caring about yourself, that allows you to really step in. I love that. Beautiful. Great share. To really be seen and heard, to feel safe, and to be treated well. Beautiful. Thank you. I know there's more trickling in. There's a bit of a delay there in time, but yeah. And I've heard from other people to feel like they could relax and be themselves, right? And that's part of being seen and heard, to make every emotion and every feeling that you have okay, right? So you're not being judged because you're having a rough day, because you have a certain feeling or a certain experience. You're not afraid of failing, right? Because it's like that unconditional acceptance. Beautiful. I love what you guys are saying. Great. So when you decide to courageously engage into your life, I can honestly say that everything begins to shift. And courageously engaging is also letting go of the nice gal habits that aren't serving you, and beginning to create those new commitments, like caring about yourself, no longer being in unsafe relationships, choosing relationships where you are seen and heard, where it's safe to be yourself, where you're truly adored and cherished, and that person's just like, you rock. I love that you're funny, or I love that you're goofy, or I love that you're intelligent, or I love how intuitive and or emotive you are, or I love how expressive you are. Like whatever your jazz and your mix and your thing is, that that people are really celebrating, that you're really celebrating and stepping into that. And the only way that we can actually be authentically, unconditionally loved for who we are is when we're no longer being nice. I'm going to say that again, because it's one of the most important things that I want to be a takeaway for you, is that the only way that we can be truly loved, truly supported, and truly seen and accepted unconditionally in our lives is when we abandon or let go of the nice gal habits. And the reason is because being nice is an abandonment of you. As you know, that's why you're here. And I want you to stop abandoning yourself, stop abandoning your dreams, start believing in who you are, and believe in your capability to attract love, even if it's been difficult up until now. Okay, thank you everyone for your comments. Beautiful. And then, nice gal plan, right? Which is, I'm all about the custom plan. I have lots of suggestions in different ways, but by the end of your 10 days and the challenge, by also our time together here, make sure you have that pen and that paper we were talking about at the beginning, you are going to create your own nice gal plan. And so what I want you to be hearing for as we continue in the training, in our dialogue and our conversation together, is to really ignite for you, like, this is the one or two or three things that are tripping me up. These are the things that are blocking love. These are the nice gal behaviors that I'm falling over my own feet with. This is what's, that's the stopping part. It's like the stopping smoking or the stopping eating sugar. I haven't mastered that one yet, but we'll work on that. The stopping whatever. And then we want to focus on, what are you going to put in? What's the nice gal plan? What's your practice? What's your juice, your yumminess? What's calling you today that's really going to make all the difference in the world for you? And it might be one thing you let go of, and one thing that you begin to insert in place of that. Okay, so remember, it's easier to be successful if we are focusing on the thing that we're beginning to practice into rather than the thing that we don't want. Okay, so again, I really want you to take away any iota within yourself of being hard on yourself, thinking that it's your fault, that you're broken, that you're flawed, that there's something wrong with you. God forbid, thinking that you're unlovable or unworthy in any way, and really understanding that somewhere in your past, be it abuse of any kind, a lack of attention from anyone in your life, a betrayal, an abandonment. I'm sure you could go back into your past, whether that's your childhood or pieces in your childhood or your early love relationships. By the way, usually your first real love partner, real love crush or boyfriend or girlfriend is the map for every other person that you attract after. And it's that unmet need, that longing that was unfulfilled, the damage, the heartache, the message that you got in there. It's somehow you weren't okay, you weren't enough, something was wrong with you, you had to stop being this way or stop doing that. A lot of children are told to be quiet. Well, if it's really persistent, there's like a dampening or a squishing down of their expression of who they are. Or if no matter what you did, good or bad, negative attention or positive attention, your parents just never noticed you. I mean, it can be as subtle, even though that's not subtle, it's extremely damaging, to the full out sexual, physical abuse or trauma, divorce, and that creates a mistrust, a lack of safety, any kind of insecurity, lack of safety, abandonment, hurt, woundedness that might have happened in your past is the reason that you're too nice. Okay. And once you really begin to understand the emotional triggers that are compelling you to relate to men and also everybody, your coworkers, your family members, your friends, although you might be doing it well in one area and really just getting hooked more with people that you love or care about more, wherever that's showing up for you, you can literally unhook yourself from that stranglehold of anxiety, fear, and mistrust that is driving you to be nice and perpetuating your disappointment no matter how nice you are. Okay. So it's like starving for love and filling up with anything you can possibly get, but giving way more. It's like you're giving away your whole kitchen and every bit of content in your fridge. And then you're desperately running out into the world trying to see who will feed you. And then they might feed you a little bit or a lot at the beginning, but then they stop feeding you so much. You ever been with a guy like just makes you feel like, oh my gosh, I've never been so loved, so adored, so supported, whatever. And a month later he disappears and you wonder what happened. And it was like he gave you the whole banquet, he gave you the whole buffet. And then suddenly, it began to be that you'd only get one meal and that one meal would turn into scraps. And then that meal would disappear altogether. And that is really where that anxiety, that fear, and that mistrust come from. And I'm sure all of you on the call, and I know my nice gals all relate to this in the community and in my mastermind classes and my clients in that area, is that starving for love cycle and the looking outside of ourselves for that. So once you stop giving everything away, you actually have food in your own kitchen. I know it's a weird analogy, but it's the same thing of filling your love cup. It's like your bank account. If you're constantly in deficit, you're going to be desperately seeking money, right? And by the way, most nice girls don't allow themselves to have a lot of money either. So we, fix it in one area, whether today you want to do it money or men or relationship or family member or best friend or whoever it is, you begin to shift it in one area, it begins to shift in others. And so when you start having a kitchen that actually has security and certainty in it because your cupboards are filled with food that you really love and that you really enjoy. And maybe you go a little crazy and just pack it full of everything so that you feel really safe. When you begin to take back control and power and it becomes that you're filling your own kitchen and filling you up, then some of that anxiety, fear, and mistrust begin to fall away. But we'll talk more about the practices you can put in. So stop being hard on yourself, stop blaming yourself. Let's talk more about what the nice gal traps, mistakes, and challenges are. and struggles. And then let's begin to go deeper into the emotional triggers of why you do those things, and what it is that you're trying to get and what it is that you're trying to avoid. So just take a pen for a minute and write that down at the top of your page. I want you to go no more nice gal. I want you to go mistakes. And then I want you to put down what are you trying to get by being nice, basically. And what are you trying to avoid? And if by chance just asking that question at this point brought anything up, just jot it down now. And then we're going to deepen into that and just go layer by layer until we can really nail it down. Okay. So no more nice gal mistakes and struggles. One of them is overgiving, and overgiving is that compulsive need to give and serve and help and fix and rescue and support by over providing and overdoing. So it's, people say to me, well, isn't it good to be nice? I'm like, of course it's good to be nice when you're just being nice because you're just being nice, which I call kindness, for the distinction. But being too nice is when you're really doing it from a place of, I don't have enough, I'm not enough, and I have to do this in order that other people around me will love, like, support, accept me, include me, allow me to belong, allow me to feel safe. So overgiving, again, is that need to just do for others by over providing and overdoing. And if this is you, just write that down, but write more specifically exactly how you do that. So are you the compulsive yes gal? Like, do you just say yes to everything and you actually physically are the person that's on this committee who, organizes things and takes the notes and prints things out and does the emails? Maybe that person at work, right? Where I had a couple nice guys that I also coached too. Everyone would dump, he said literally everyone just come and dump all their extra work that they didn't want to do or couldn't get done on him. And you could imagine how overwhelming that became for him after a while. And one of the first shifts that we did was to unroot that, because it began to shift how he related towards women. So same for the nice gals, right? Maybe you pick men that need you, that you need to rescue. They become like your project, and in a way you get to avoid your own feelings, your own despair, your own avoidance of your own life, the dreams, your lack of belief in yourself. Maybe he's a really good distraction. Maybe it just feels really good to be needed, and you've actually replaced being needed for being loved, because you've got those two confused. So write down the specific ways if overgiving is one of your nice gal challenges. And again, if you want to share, I love to hear from you. Just pop it into the chat box and share with me. Perfect. Where you're rescuing, supporting, helping, and fixing. And if you notice as well, that remember part of our growth that we talked about at the very beginning was to also acknowledge if you're no longer doing those things, or if you've stopped doing it in certain ways. And I just want to acknowledge the other comment here too. Linda said, amazing, you're totally nailing the subject. Thank you. So glad to serve. And great. Okay, I'm going to continue, and I'll acknowledge his comments as we go in as well. Perfecting. So the perfectionist nice gal, also very, very similar to the performing for love. I had a client who continuously went on every date and could never get past the first date with a man. And the reason why is because she'd be so wound up with anxiety trying to show him how great she was. She was Miss Performer. I'm going to be really funny. I'm going to be really like charismatic. I'm going to be really like knowing. I'm going to be, just like, it's kind of that over the top. I've got to wow and pizzazz and really like show everything I've got. Of course, men picked up on her anxiety. They picked on her discomfort, and they reacted to that. And they thought, just something's off here. And so she could never get past that first date. Now, part of that for her, that performing for love, was also a way to sabotage and not allow anyone to get close. So it was kind of a double-edged sword a little bit, and you'll see those in there. So the perfectionist nice gal actually defends herself against the unworthiness that she really truly feels deep down, and against the hurt that she's trying to avoid. So remember that question of what are you trying to avoid? So she tries to control outcomes, situations, and her others, but also herself, right? And also there's that hidden belief. Okay, so here's a hook, guys. and a trigger is that there's a hidden belief that if I'm perfect, if I'm really amazing, if I'm really awesome, I'm really all of those things, then how can a guy not love me? And that's part of the convincing a guy to fall in love. If I'm just really wonderful, really amazing, really all of those things, then he'll just love me. Yeah, so what is your nice gal habit or behavior? Okay. All right. Accommodator. So the accommodator, love this one. They are the nicest of the nice gals. They oblige and please. They're the caretakers, and they do this to avoid conflict or to upset anybody. They're the ultimate shape shifter. They change to actually meet other people's preferences and expectations. So even if that pleasing isn't overt, like no one's making any demands for them to do or do anything, nice gals are really intuitive. So a nice gal will actually, an accommodating nice gal and an empathic nice gal, another way to say it, will feel what other people need or want. If they're sharing something that's painful, she'll just automatically go into that place of giving comfort and support. And by the way, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just when we do it all the time to the expense of ourselves, right? It's great to be there for others and to be compassionate. We want to keep that gift. But sometimes she'll actually begin to alter her own self, her own personality, her own preferences, her own sense of who she is in order to sort of mold herself into what she thinks the other person wants them to be. That can really fall into the self-sacrificing part for those of you who struggled with that. And just think shapeshifter, really be it. So if this is you, then you might just be the accommodating yes gal. You might be the one who just puts up with what's happening without saying, even though it might be offending you or violating your standards or your boundaries. Or you might actually be changing who you are to get that person to love and like you, to create an ease for the connection to happen. So, you loved golf and suddenly, you're going out to his football games every weekend. Now, I'm using just sort of a real life example, but it can be as simple as that. Or, he likes people who are funny. So you only allow your funny side to come out and you suppress the other parts of you. You don't allow yourself to have deep feelings or conversations, right? Because you're molding yourself into that. So that's the accommodating energy. The other, we have the perfecting nice gals, so sorry, I think I clicked on the wrong one. And then the trying too hard. I think I missed pleaser in there, so I'll do that one. So I'm going to back up and just ignore me for a minute. We've got the trying too hard up, but then there's the pleaser. So the pleaser is actually somebody who actively does things in order to make people happy. And so the pleaser is yes and yes and yes, and can I do more? Can I do more? Can I do more? Okay. So she feels other people's expectations, but just constantly in the way of pleasing them. Because, if they're happy, then they'll think I'm amazing and they'll stick around, right? And I'll stave off the rejection that I might feel or the abandonment that might happen with a man in a relationship or a friendship if I'm just really engaged there. The other one is trying too hard. So the nice gal who tries too hard is really, again, what I said before is this fear factor. So the reason why we do anything, we try to earn love, seek love, be good enough for love, be perfect for love, be the please our way into love, perform our way into love, all of those, the doing to get love, to, go get the guy by being nice in these ways. The trying too hard again comes from all those disappointments, those rejections and heartaches that have really turned dating into an episode of fear factor. I don't know about you, but I get those images of worms and weird, gross, disgusting things. So fear factor, if you've ever seen that show, that's what I'm kind of imaging here. But no wonder you can't relax and trust love. And so again, this is why I want you to take out the blame, why I'm saying it's not your fault. It's your responsibility to shift this pattern. But the fact that you've psychologically reacted to your heartache, to your disappointment, to rejection, to abandonment, to betrayal, with fear is a natural psychological reaction to being hurt. And so, yes, no wonder you can't relax and trust love. So, how can we get you to a place where you trust you? That's another TLC commitment. Trust you, trust your intuition, trust and anchor into your worthiness so that you can relax. Stop feeling so overwhelmed, so overburdened, so exhausted, so confused, so unsure of yourself. And a love can come into your life and you can begin to allow it. The reason why nice gals never get the guy, or at least not the guy worth having, is that they continuously give themselves away to be loved. They give up their time, they give up their energy, they give up their dreams, they give up their standards, they give up their boundaries, they give up their emotions, they give up their commitment to themselves. They give the best of who they are to everybody out there and to everything out there and don't leave anything for them. And so they're sitting in an empty kitchen, lonely, sad, despairing, confused, unsure, gutted, whatever word you want to use here, whatever emotion's coming up for you. Mostly just really maybe even angry, sitting in that kitchen going, there's nothing left for me. Where's my love? Where's all this stuff, The Secret and manifesting and the law of attraction and life has, promised me? Where is all that? And so we need to stop giving ourselves away to be loved and know that we're worthy of being loved so that love can come to us. I love what someone said here, and I just really want to address it. Thank you so much, Julia, for sharing that. That, because of denial, don't react or speak up and later cry about what happened, right? So you're right. Like sometimes in the moment, so easy to be nice, so easy to default in those ways, just naturally do it out of habit. That's why I call it a habit. And then realize after, oh, I didn't want to say yes. I didn't want to do that. That wasn't okay. I didn't protect me emotionally. Yeah. Great. You're going to love the assertiveness training I do in the 10-day challenge. So again, it's active. We're in day 4 right now. If you're not signed up for that, type that in there, your email or whatever. Give me permission. I'll just send you the link really fast, or just pop over to Facebook. I will have the link at the end. Facebook.com/group/no-more-nice-gal, and join in on the conversation, because I'm going to go deeper into some of the skill sets, right? So like I said before, remember, it's not enough to just be willing. You have to have a path, you have to have tools, you have to have systems, you have to have support, because that's really what's going to shift it for you. It's going to empower you to go, okay, not only do I really want to change this, not only am I super committed to myself and I'm going to put my happiness and my own well-being first in my life, and that may be the best place that you start, Julia. And as I make that commitment, I'm going to access all of these other things that will give me those tools in that minute to know what to say. Because the fear of speaking up is this person's going to flip out or say that I'm being dramatic or that I'm being a jerk or that I'm not nice anymore or accuse you of something or not like you or reject you or leave you or abandon you, right? So remember I said, what do you get by being nice? Like, what is it that you're trying to get? So what's the behavior that you're doing or the habit, the nice gal habit that's coming up? And then what is the thing that you're hoping to get by being nice? So I want to make sure he doesn't leave. I'm anxious that a man is going to abandon me or that a man is going to cheat on me. So I'm always watching and vigilant about what he's doing. Really write down, like, what is it that you're trying to get? And then what is it that you're trying to avoid? So what is that longing? What's the thing that's missing? Where's that the thing that you feel empty of? So think of it, you're back in the kitchen and you're looking around the cupboards and you're going, I really wish that I had, pancake mix, because maybe you love pancakes. And that's the thing that you're longing for. Now put a different word on the emotion of that. Maybe like some of you, it's being seen. Maybe it's being adored. Maybe it's being lavished with affection or attention. Whatever that is that you're longing for, that thing you're trying to get, the nice gal behavior that you're doing to try to get it, and then what is it that you're trying to avoid in that? So I don't speak up because, I'm avoiding his negative reaction to that. But later on, I'm still longing for this that hasn't been given. I hope this is making sense to you guys. Tell me this is making sense. and we'll keep going and deepen into that question as we move along. So again, nice gals act too nice out of fear. Okay, fear is a driving energy. And there's one thing that I learned intuitively a really long time ago that, I just keep deepening into my learning and understanding of, and you might write it down because it's super powerful, is that the intention behind which you do anything is the result or effect that it creates. And I'll just say that again. The energy or emotion of how you do anything is the result that it creates. So if you do something out of fear, you're going to create exactly what you fear, to say it in a different way. So if you fear being rejected, so you perform into love or perfect into love, you try to be really amazing, but you're actually secretly anxious. Remember that nice gal, she's on that date or she's in that relationship and she's performing for love, right? She's perfecting to try to show how great she is. And her deepest, deepest fear is that she's going to be rejected and experience the loss and abandonment in that moment. But that's exactly what ends up getting created because the man doesn't see her. He only sees her fear. That's why being too nice is a problem, and I want you to be kind. Because when you keep your kindness, you keep your compassion, your empathy, your insight, your intuition. You keep all of those beautiful aspects of strength and confidence and, deeper parts of your other unique things that make up your personality and who you are as a nice gal. But you don't keep the fear. So guess what that person, the man, your boss, your family members, your friend who you wish would show up for you more, whoever that relationship is or relationships are, they get to see all that. They get to see your brilliance and your amazingness because you're no longer stifled by the fear and anxiety of not being good enough, not being enough, not having enough, not doing enough. So all that I'm not good enough stuff, as it begins to shift, allows that fear factor to go down and more of who you are to get revealed. And what's really interesting is that sometimes that's the scariest thing a nice gal ever has to go through. She wants to be seen. Thank you, everyone's saying it's making sense. She wants to be seen, but she's terrified of being seen because that fear is still there. So, by the way, as you start in this path of letting go of your nice gal ways, your fear factor will start to go up a little bit. And I want to say this because people automatically think, well, no, shouldn't it go down? And I'm like, no, it actually goes up because now you're no longer doing the things you think are required of you to avoid the pain that you're trying to avoid of rejection, loss, abandonment, betrayal, etc. So that's why the support, that's why the system, because as you insert the other things, your confidence in your ability to be who you are, to accept yourself, to put yourself first, to build trust that you are going to show up for you. Therefore, you begin to create that mirror in the universe where others begin to show up for you. You need time to start to build those positive experiences that give you the trust that I can break free from that fear factor and I can overcome that fear. And actually, I'm feeling less fear now that I'm doing these other things that are really empowering me and making me feel strong and confident and worthy and radiant and happy and joyful and relaxed and calm. Oh, so much better. Trust me. I live in more of that state now than the other one, the starving for love one. So I'm going to say it in a different way. You're in the kitchen, you're starving for love, and you're isolated, which makes you very vulnerable to settling in relationships, staying too long, having romantic illusions, and denial. Some of you mentioned denial, so definitely. It makes you vulnerable to being taken advantage of. It makes you vulnerable to abuse. It makes you vulnerable to choosing an insecure man who you have to take care of and then feel resentful that all of your time and energy is going to him. Every vulnerability you think that, every nice gal relationship mistake that you think you've made in the past, it pretty much came from this isolation, the starving for love. And so we've got to start filling your kitchen. I hope that message is coming really clear. Let's fill your kitchen with your things, with your nice gal practice that really begin to support, feed, nourish, and help you. So if you haven't heard it loud and clear now, I'm going to say a few more examples examples just to really help you, because again, our goal and our outcome for our call today that I want you to walk away with, because when you know your pattern, you're empowered to change it. So we're going to admit and out ourselves, right? I'm this type of nice gal. What I'm trying to get and what I'm longing for is this. This is why I'm doing these things. And what I'm trying to avoid are these things. So if you walk away with that, then we're going to be able to really write your nice gal plan by the end of our time together. And you're going to be able to start to implement it. You're going to be able to use the No More Nice Gal community, myself, other future offerings and blogs and different things that I do, maybe my programs, paid or otherwise, so that you can really begin to just strengthen the muscles of what it is to be free of the pattern and to fully start to fulfill yourself. Right? Fill you up, fill your kitchen, fill yourself with wholeness, with worthiness, with good enoughness, with belief in yourself, with a feeling of safety and security that you've always been looking for in others, and have that show up really strong for you. Okay, love it. So, nice gal pattern, hide or mask their unworthiness with perfectionism. We share that. Self-punish or neglect themselves for dealing with a lack of fulfillment, be this addictions or distractions or unhealthy habits. So I love it. Ilanya Van Zandt, I love this. And Oprah Masterclass one time said that if you feel guilty, you will find a way to punish yourself. So you might date the guy that you know is going to punish you instead or harm you. You might overeat and do, emotional eat, which is a way of punishing and harming yourself. Whatever it is, you're going to put something. You might spend money you don't have, and that creates debt and more stress for yourself in the future. So if you have guilt, you'll self-punish. And if you have a lack of fulfillment, you'll look for it desperately from anywhere. So I just really want to call that out, because there's a natural consequence to feeling a certain way and acting in a certain way. And you are not your nice gal pattern. That is something that you've learned. It's a behavior. It's a reaction and response to pain, to suffering, to heartache, to hurt, to woundedness, to betrayal, to abandonment, to loss and rejection. Okay. If you hadn't had those experiences, that fear wouldn't be there, and the nice gal pattern wouldn't be there. So you are much more than this. Do not identify with being the behavior. You're not the behavior. That's not a character trait. These are simply things that you've done. So you can undo it and claim the real you, the authentic woman that's underneath that. So yeah, I love that. Please know that. Okay, avoid or ignore your own feelings because it's too overwhelming, or it's just easier to distract yourself by being needed by others, okay? Or distract yourself with TV, or distract yourself with food. However, you're avoiding ignoring your own feelings. Try to change or manage others, yourself, or situations to create the outcome that you're really hoping for to avoid pain. Okay, so again, some of you might be, if I'm just really trying hard, working hard, trying to change him, so you buy him a self-help book and you enroll yourself into a course and you roll him into it as well. You're managing his life or helping uplift or support him in a way that he has deficiency. All of that is to avoid pain, and it's also to avoid him from disappointing you. So if I can just make him see that he's hurt me and convince him of that, or if I can let him know how much it hurts me that he's not committed to me, he's not showing up for me, then I can really just avoid the pain of him not being there when I really need his love and support, right? So that's how that's coming. Other things that show up in the nice gal pattern is looking outside yourself for validation, reassurance, or security. So I have a few nice gals who had the habit of just needing to be like, am I okay? Do you like my outfit? Are we okay? Do you love me? What do you like about me? All of those are sort of validation, assurance seeking type of behaviors. Security is also trying to make the relationship happen very fast and very quickly. So if you're that rushing nice gal, that's just like, I want to get to the part where my nice gals always say this, and I totally relate, where they're like, I hate the dating part. And I totally get it, because it's racked full of insecurity and uncertainty. You don't know where you stand. You don't know how he feels about you. You definitely don't have any commitment. And you're just trying to get to the part where you can be exclusive and he's your boyfriend. And then from boyfriend, you're just dying to get him over to putting the ring on your finger and getting married so that you can feel safe and secure. So, and I'm laughing because I definitely had that. So, that's one of them. So the other one is distancing yourself from others out of mistrust or fear of disappointment or rejection. So this is when you just stop trying. You've tried for a really long time, and you trusted blindly in the past and been really paid very dearly for that, financially or emotionally, or physically, and you just no longer put yourself out there, right? You've had so much disappointment that you think, I'm just going to stay home with my Cheetos. This is me. This is one of mine, guys, and I'm actually still working on this one with friends, which is to just really learn to open myself, to allow myself to need others, to depend on them, to ask for help. And this is why for years I've always had a psychologist or a counselor or a coach or a combination of those. I definitely always have a business coach, but to also have, a personal coach that I deal with my own stuff, right? That I make my needs a priority and have someone to talk to and really risk being seen by another human being. And so this is one of my strong practices. And so if you relate to this at all, then know that you can actually learn. I've had a few people recently say, yeah, I've really, thank you for your transparency and your vulnerability, Mary Jane. And I said, okay, great. Because I'm practicing my own practice and just, really hearing for them what their fear is, what they're trying to avoid by sort of isolating themselves in their empty kitchen. And what I'm suggesting is that there is a time to go out and buy some groceries, right? Or to allow your friend to come over and bring them for you and stock that kitchen up and bring that fulfillment into your life and to not push people away. So just a personal share on that one. So attracting needy partners who need to, from a need to be needed so that you have a purpose. Or again, for those of you who are, said, I'm dating the unavailable man, right? Whenever you date him, he confirms your belief that you're not good enough. So you're blaming yourself that, I must be really insecure. I must be really desperate. I must be really like, wow, I'm really kind of awful because I feel so insecure and so obsessed and not good enough. And this guy's making me feel like crap and I don't know why. And it must be me, right? And this is, I've heard that a million times from a nice guy. We don't blame ourselves. And really, you're dating a man who's going to absolutely, by nature of dating him, make you feel uncertain, unsure about where you stand with him, therefore insecure and uncertain and unsure. So we need to stop. If this is you, on your stop plan or your practice plan, I want you to write down, I'm going to stop dating emotionally unavailable men or unavailable men. So, and you're going to write that list of what does unavailable mean? It means he's gay, he has a girlfriend, he's married, he's toxic, he's addicted, he's just out of a recovery program, like whatever needs to be written on there. He doesn't want to be married. He doesn't want children. He doesn't want to love someone else. He's a player. He just wants sex. He has multiple relationships. He's an open relationship guy, and that's so not what I want, right? Or if you do want that, great. But, there's no judgment there. It's just that you're choosing someone who doesn't want what you want and can't give you fundamentally what you're looking for. And they absolutely will trigger that feeling of not being good enough. Okay. Attracting the needy, insecure partner just makes you have to avoid your own needs. Right. So makes it so that, again, you're not asking for help. You're not extending your life. You're not engaging fully into yourself. You're just distracting yourself by taking care of somebody else. And again, it's just a habit. I'm just going to take a sip of water here. So you're accommodating to gain approval, love, and acceptance. Again, that shape-shifting thing we were talking about. And then you're sacrificing your own needs to please, and fulfill the desires of other people. Few more, overworking or overgiving, right? Encouraging others to take advantage. The other thing is overworking is another way that either a nice gal punishes herself or that she tries to create value for who she is. So I'm worthy by what I accomplish. I'm worthy by what I do, what I give, what I have, how I'm being, how I'm earning, how I'm, all of those things. So we're going to break that. So if you're that overworker, then you really want to write down, what are you trying to avoid by overworking, but also what are you trying to get? What's the positive feeling that overworking gives you? And what are you trying to avoid? Same with overgiving. If you're that overgiver, what am I longing for that I'm empty, that's missing, that I'm trying to get from it? And maybe what is the payoff? What am I getting from it? And then what am I trying to avoid? So if I'm out there overgiving to everybody else, I might be avoiding rejection. I might be avoiding disapproval. I might be avoiding someone going, why are you doing that? Why would you ever do that? Any of those types of things. Okay. Because sometimes fixing, supporting, and helping others is a way to avoid full responsibility for your own life and goals and dreams. So we want to avoid that. Doubting yourselves or dismissing your intuition, intuitive hits, and blindly believing in love. Okay, so you might have, love, and also love beliefs like love can conquer all, right? If I just love him enough, he'll love me back. And that might be one of your guys' emotional triggers that you have. That's a big one. If you're prone to anxiety-filled perfectionism, overthinking, or an obsessive desire to fix or solve the problem, that's definitely part of that nice gal pattern. And then you really want to look at, like, what am I trying to make perfect in myself that I'm judging, or that I'm thinking, where do I think I'm lacking or I'm not having enough? Or where am I thinking I need to be better? So if I'm better in this way, then he'll love me. And I'm longing to feel this from the situation, and I'm trying to avoid him from leaving, not liking me, disapproving of me, whatever. Trying to change or manage others, yourself, or the situation again in hopes to avoid pain. Okay, so the nice gal plan. We want to stop abandoning you, right? Start putting you first and design a practice that really allows you to begin to give all of the unconditional love and acceptance that you've been generously offering others, but also that when you risk being you and you're no longer being nice, then other people can see who you are. And you can come from that authentic place where love can begin to actually flow easily and effortlessly into your life without you having to be nice to get it. So you're no longer having to earn love. You just get love for being you. Sounds pretty good, eh? I'm sure a few of you are like, what does that feel and look like? And if you're having that crickets, wow, I have no idea what that looks like. I have no idea what that feels like. I am so dropping the seed of that experience coming into your life, because there is nothing more healing, more powerful, more expansive, and more inspiring than being unconditionally loved and accepted by somebody. And if you've ever had a moment like that, I want you to go back to that every single day in the memory of your mind. And we call it in psychology and coaching flooding, which is just basking in the energy of that feeling of being loved, a feeling of being supported, a feeling of being completely okay and calm and at peace, and that feeling of rightness, that everything in the world is right. It's a great feeling. You're going to stop the desperate attempt to get anything, right? To get the money, the man, the recognition, the belonging through your nice gal doing. So, and I'll say it a bit later, but you'll abandon, instead of abandoning yourself, which is what nice gals do. They're nice to the point that they let themselves go, and they, they give all of themselves away to be loved. Instead of abandoning you, you're going to abandon the nice gal doing. Okay. And then no more overgiving. So that means no more overgiving, no more pleasing, no more accommodating, no more perfecting, no more earning, no more trying hard, no more controlling, convincing, suggesting, supporting, fixing, helping. Okay, and add yours in there because I've said them all throughout the whole practice. So what are you, write down right now, like what it is you're going to gain, or circle, like up in your nice gal habit, the one thing in your nice gal plan today that you're going to start from here on out to stop doing. So, and micro it down if you need to chunk it down, right? Because you might be overgiving in so many different ways that might just feel really overwhelming to you, and that's not my intention. So you might chunk it down to, I always say yes when, my mother asked me to do this. So now I'm going to say, I'd really love to, but I'm not available right now. Can we look at doing that another time, right? Or I would be available this time. So you just practice starting to say no. And we began to identify some of the triggers, right? So remember, all those triggers are all of those anxiety-producing fears, such as rejection, abandonment, judgment, loss, betrayal. I didn't put in there, but that fits. Loss, heartache, aloneness, or disappointment. So those are all the things that you're afraid of. Remember, the things you're trying to avoid. And all the unmet needs that you're longing for. So acknowledge all of those things that are making you starving for love. So what do you want to stock your kitchen with? And this is your emotional kitchen. So is it approval? Is it, I put efficient. I don't think that's the word I meant to put there. I think a spell check did that for me. So belonging, right? So approval, or belonging, or validation, or connection, or affection, security, safety, support. Um, Acceptance. That's a big one. It might be inclusion. So what is the thing that you are longing for that's missing, that needs to go in your nice gal kitchen? And then what are you trying to avoid? So you're stopping all your nice gal behaviors is going to trigger more fear factor, remember, in a different way, because now the fear is driving those nice gal behaviors. If I do this, then I'll get the result I'm hoping for. But really, fear just creates more fear. And fear actually, recreates the experiences of your past that you're trying to avoid. So what are you trying to avoid by doing those nice gal behaviors? And then the next question is, how do you do it differently? So what shift, and I think it's farther down, but you'll see that slide later, but what is the one shift that would make all the difference? What is that one action that I could do? What's the belief, the mantra, the practice, the thing that would begin to lower my fear around the rejection I'm trying to avoid by being nice and pleasing and supporting others, so that I could actually get the unconditional acceptance that I'm hoping for? And by the way, I really want you to relax that if some of those answers don't quite make sense yet, or I'm doing a lot of repetition of different ways to access those three things to really get you to that nice gal plan, but really know that we're seeding it right now. And so just really relax wherever you are. Don't be hard on yourself. Even if it makes sense now, you might have to revisit it in different ways, but the answer will come to you. And you ask the question, I believe the answer comes. So just really trust that. So here's that part again of like, why am I motivated to do this? Why are you on this call? Why, let's use your suffering, your failure to be loved and fully accepted in your life up until now in your experience to really be the drive, right? That the pain is motivating you to get to a place of pleasure, right? And then we can let go of the pain and just be in the pleasure part. So instead of self-abandoning by being too nice, I want you to abandon the belief that you can change or control or that you have to do anything differently outside of yourself in order to be loved. Okay. Again, it's that belief that you need to do, be or have anything more of or less than in order to be worthy of love. And again, I go really deep into my courses on shifting and healing that core unworthiness, deeper into the triggers that are tying it, deeper into the memories and literally to the cellular level, to the memory bank level, to the how you acted out in your life, so that we can really break the cycle. Because what we want to do is change how you feel, so that we change how you think. And as we unhook that, then you no longer have this intense emotion that's driving you to behave in certain ways, and that behavior over time makes you think that that's who you are. So there's something wrong with me because this is the experience I'm keep having. I'm unlovable because nobody has loved me up until now, and that identity carries over into your life, and then you perpetuate attracting experiences into your world that again affirm that something isn't okay with you, something's broken within you or flawed or not all right. I had a client the other day I was talking to, and she was frustrated because she was listening to also a lot of other love gurus and different people out there, and she said, I'm really hearing the message all the time that the guy who is emotionally unavailable or suddenly withdrew or disappeared all of a sudden, that it was really my fault, that I didn't do, that I did something or I didn't do enough of something in order to keep him in my life. And as you know, in the nice gal and the TLC is it's exact opposite. You guys already try hard. You're already doing enough. You're already doing way more than anybody else is. And so all of your trying hard behavior makes you stay in the relationship for 14 years that you're not supposed to stay in and waste all your time, love, and energy on someone who isn't loving you back. And so the real message of kicking Miss Nice to the curb is not the nice best part of you. It's the belief that you need to do, be, or have anything different or more of, that you need to do any of that in order to be worthy of love. So we want to Heal this unworthiness so that we can end the painful and debilitating cycle of heartache and disappointment in your life. And you can actually begin to feel all the things that you're looking to, which is, damn, I'm kind of fabulous and I'm really cool and I'm worthy and I'm confident and I believe in myself and I'm strong. And now my radiance and my brilliance and my passion and my purpose and my whole self can be brilliant in the world because nothing is stopping me anymore. I'm not stopping me, and this cycle isn't stopping me. So if you haven't written it down yet, I really want to bring you back to creating your practice. What is the one thing, or one or two or three things, no more than three, that you can begin to do right now that's going to fill up your kitchen? So if you're committing to putting you first, how might you do that? What is one thing you can do to put you first? If you're longing, Terry really heard you when you said, I'm just longing to be seen and heard and safe and treated well. What is one thing that you can do to support yourself to begin to see you, to hear you, to feel safe in your life? How might you also communicate that need to the people, your friends, or people that you do trust more in your life? And begin to write down those things you're beginning to do in the practice. Now, I can't emphasize this enough, and this is why I really, that's why I was inspired to do the 10-day No More Nice Gal Challenge and really make it, collaborative and integrative and on Facebook. And the reason I really did that was be in a private Facebook group, in case you're wondering, was to really create support, and also all the things that I do, that I give of my free time and energy, is because support stops self-sabotage. It stops the slip back into the temptation of that emotional energy of, it bubbles up. I'm not okay. I'm not enough. Okay, I better try harder. I better do more. I better achieve more. I better accomplish more. I better give more. All of those things that kind of get triggered and bubbled up. And then you suddenly find yourself behaving in that way. Then you behave in that way and you feel bad about yourself. And then you tell yourself the old story of how you're unlovable or unworthy or not enough. And then that just compels you to need to do more. Or you feel guilty, or you blame yourself, or you're hard on yourself. And that roots the problem. They always say there's nothing like guilt to keep you rooted in a problem, but add blame to that or being hard on yourself, and it's the same energy. So it really begins to pull you into that self-sabotage cycle, and then you think, I really can't do this, because every time I really try hard, my willpower just goes away, and I end up in the same place that I was before. This really sucks, and then you just feel defeated. And how you avoid that is that you get support. From me, from the community, from other love coaches, from other coaches out there, from a psychologist, from a support group, whatever it is. It doesn't matter to me what you pick. I obviously recommend a few things, right? So have a supportive community of friends around you. Have a spiritual community if you're rooted into a particular religious or spiritual perspective, because that will really feed your soul on a whole other level. Have Facebook communities. Have things that are virtual and real time, where someone can hold you and hug you and support you and be there for you. So start filling up the kitchen with like a party and your friends seated around the table, and inspirational stuff and great teachers. Wayne Dyer just recently passed away. He's one of my favorite teachers. So down to earth, so practical, so real, and yet so incredibly inspired and wise. And I love him, and I listen to him almost every day, and I feel like he's a part of my life. So he's in my kitchen. So put into your kitchen what needs to be in there. So your commitment to engage in every step of your recovery, and to know that it is a recovery. It's it's not about perfection. It's about progress, step by step, as you are called, is really so that you can stop being nice and start being loved. Okay, that's why you're here. No one goes it alone. It's healthy to want and need support, just as much to give it. And we often isolate out of shame or mistrust or exhaustion or overwhelm. And if this is true for you, I wonder how you might begin to regain your energy and your enthusiasm and protect yourself as well in the future, as you open up, as you're vulnerable, as you allow people to come into your kitchen and to bring you things to put in your kitchen, to be gifted. And then what is the support that you need right now? Okay. So our path really today is to give you everything that can support you in your practice, to really acknowledge the nice gal mistake that you're making that's tripping you up. The longing, what you're trying to get from being nice, what you're hoping to receive by being nice. The longing and the need that is missing. What you're trying to avoid by being nice. the one practice that's going to make all the difference, and the support that is going to make sure that you don't fall off the rail. Well, first day of challenge, had a few people email me and say, Mary Jane, I just need your coaching. I need help right now. Great. Okay, let's get started. Those of you who left comments, either personal message me or make comments in the news feed and through the privacy of the 10-day challenge, you notice I replied back to everybody. I gave my coaching, my feedback, my support, a little bit of direction, maybe a question, an affirmation, an acknowledgement. I delivered right there to give you the support that you might need to just keep going and to feel empowered and to feel excited about this process as well. That it can be really freeing and really exciting and really give you the hope maybe that you've lost up until now. And then what support, just would, like I said, free you and openly, abundantly allow you to show up in all of your natural brilliance and as the real you. So if you're willing to really let go of that desperate, anxious, need to make things happen and to allow and invite more grace and more support into your life instead, and you're willing to let go of that old identity and the attachment so that you can free yourself to love and to be loved, so that you can really just get beyond this nice gal conditioning and create the opening that you need to awaken the truth of who you are, supporting yourself to transcend the fear so that you can really tap into the gentle power, worthiness, and trust that is the real you. Then what I know for sure is that when you shift your nice gal stuff, everything in your life begins to change. Your circumstances and your relationships begin to shift for the better. So this needs to be, a real commitment on your part. That is the bigger underlying goal that I have in every training, in every blog that I write, every email I send out, every engagement I have with a client in session as we're having a conversation, is really to get you to that place where you are open, willing, and 100% committed to you. You're showing up for you, you're loving you, you're present to you, you're present in the moment, you nurture, and call forth within yourself everything that is powerful, whole, worthy, ignited, and brilliant within you. And the only way we get to that is that I choose me. I commit to this process. I'm willing to let go of my nice gal ways. Okay. And some of you, it might be, like I said, risking yourself to be that most open, vulnerable, and real self so that you can connect and be included. You can be your whole, unabashed, quirky, silly, funny, intellectual, artistic, playful, feminine, joyful, strong, persistent, radiant, even awkward or shy if you're shy, magnificent, scared, emotional, intuitive, sensitive, sweet, imperfectly perfect self. Okay, you get to be all of you. And so if you haven't, let me reward you as well for staying right till the very end of our training today. I actually forgot one of our links in there too, because I just really want to invite you as well that if what I'm saying makes sense to you today, if you feel like you need more, here's a couple of different ways that you can engage deeper into this conversation of nice gal stuff. And that you can get the support and the practices that will help you break free of it so that you can ultimately be loved and love your life, right? I always say, love your life, be loved, and love others, right? That's ultimately the goal and why you're here. So a couple of things, and I wish I'd put the third one on there, but you'll just have to use your good listening ears to grab hold of it. You can go to thelovecoach.com/5 nice gal mistakes. If you haven't downloaded my free ebook on the 5 nice gal mistakes, it'll help you go deeper. I definitely dig go in depth around the starvation cycle, right? That we talked about a bit in the kitchen from a different angle than I spoke about today, because it always comes out a little bit differently. So you'll get that in there as well, and really highly recommend it. And of course, it's free. So grab hold of it. You can also get it on the Facebook page and on any of my Facebook pages. So feel free to grab a hold of that. But it's thelovecoach.com/5 nice gal mistakes. Enjoy. The other one is the Facebook group. And right now, the Facebook group, I do different offerings and challenges, and I offer different things within that private group that I don't put on my fan pages or through my email list. And so there's some juicy offerings in there. Take advantage of them. And right now we have the 10 days of No More Nice Gal, right? Which we deepened into today and is part of this training. So if you have not yet joined and you really want to be included in that, please go to facebook.com/group/No More Nice Gal. And then the other offering is if you really, like I said, if what I'm saying makes sense to you and you really identify with a lot of what I'm saying, and you really think like, okay, that's really great. I have a starting place with you, Mary Jane, based on the call. Here's my great takeaway that I'm having, which I'm going to ask you guys, what is your takeaway? Like, what's the one thing that you're really going to commit to and take away from our time together that you're going to move forward with? Share it with me so that I can really help you. And sorry, someone just asked me, on Facebook, can my friends see that I'm in the group? No, they cannot. It is a private group, and unless you invite your friends into that group and then I approve them, they cannot see it. So all of your comments and everything that are in there are kept completely confidential from all of your other Facebook friends. So thank you. I had that question the other day from someone as well who emailed me and said, Mary Jane, is this private? Yeah, it is. It's not a secret group. People can see the group, but they can't see who's in the group, and they can't see the comment stream within the group or any of the content unless they're a part of the group. So once you join in, you'll have complete anonymity. And if you don't make any comments or anything in there, people can see that you're in the group in the members area, but they can't actually see your comments. And if there's anything that you want to share with me that, you don't want to, I always give people the option to private message me within Facebook. If they don't want to leave something in the comment stream, you're more than welcome to do that. So even when you're in the group, you can enjoy all the content. You can enjoy everything that's in there, and just private message me, and I'm happy to support you and dialogue with you in that way. So I love that question. Thank you. And then the other way that you can deepen into this conversation with me is to get some training with me. And this is the first time that I'm actually offering my signature coaching program in a group format, so it's more affordable, and laid out the 10-day thing, but plus the 7-step worthiness system. For those of you who are thinking, well, I really want to be feel more worthy, and I have this unworthiness that no matter what I try, I just seem to be defaulting back into it. That's where we really go into the 7-step process to become love worthy, which is to know your worthiness through and through in every level of who you are with absolute confidence. It becomes the solid foundation from which you live your life. And once it's like an anchor, once you have that, everything flows from worthiness instead of fear and anxiety. So instead of the world seeing fear and anxiety, they see your worth. And it just feels good. Let me tell you how great it feels to finally love myself and feel worthy. I never had that. I struggled for that for so long. And when I didn't have that, I sabotaged, I failed at things. I felt like a failure. I struggled. I had a lot of pain, a lot of upset, a lot of things we've talked about today. I really struggled needlessly in a way I didn't need to. And so we want to shift that. Okay. Okay, great. So a couple of questions for streaming, and I just want to acknowledge those. So if that's you, and I'm just going to type it down in the chat so that you guys can all see that link. And by the way, there's just a really great video on there, and there's some great content. So whether you become a part of that program or not, grab some more juicy content, right? It's always good. It's the lovecoach.com/nicegalrehab. And this is the in-depth group training program. You can find out all the details there about how it works, open to questions, and really it's going to be, we launch October 1st, so there's lots of time for you to learn more about it, ask me questions, and engage into the challenge and different things to really feel the confidence that this might be right for you. But right now you can just take a gander at it. And the Nice Gal Rehab is, again, we go into that 7 love-worthy program, and we do the 10 steps, right? And we go deep and deep. So if you think this is my free training and I've given this much content and value, and you guys will see that always, because I am a giver, and also the compassionate, this is my mission sense, then just wait until you dig into the actual course if you're feeling called to do that. Okay. So I'm going to open it up to questions right now. And so feel free, guys, to throw some questions at me. What's been ignited in you? Do you have any questions about anything that I've said or anything? And thank you. I got another thank you for your willingness to share so openly and vulnerably. Thank you, Linda. I really thank you. That opens my heart again. And, this is the kind of sharing and support that I was talking about within the community, which is, I get to acknowledge you and your brilliance as we get to know each other. So please, come join the challenge if you're not in it, or hit me up with a message or a comment with, private within Facebook or within the challenge. And let me help support you as well and acknowledge you, because we can start to acknowledge and support each other, because we do not grow in isolation. We grow in connection with others. And more than anything, nice gals are craving connection. We need it. So some of you might be realizing, wow, I'm really longing for that. I'm longing to be acknowledged, or I'm longing to share, or I'm longing to, just be seen by another person, or to be vulnerable and to have, someone hear me and not judge me, like whatever your longing is. So thank you, Linda. My longing is always to be seen as well. And I just feel very supported by you. Thank you for your grace and your giftedness. Thank you. Okay. So yeah, we'll open up to questions. Great. Everything makes sense. Feel like the pieces are coming together for me. Thank you. Thank you. That's a great, I love that. So affirming. I work rather intuitively, so I prepare, but, sometimes whatever comes forth is really just based on you guys and how you show up. So I feel your energy and you're part of this collaborative conversation. So thank you for engaging and being here and showing up for you. And it makes me feel good. So I love that your win makes a win for me. I love it. And just to really open it up as well, too, if there's a question that's more in depth or more private, and again, or maybe it bubbles up later and you, it's your, I call it the aha, you suddenly get off the call and things percolate and settle, and then suddenly you have a question. Yeah, again, door is open, right? Hit me up. My email is love@thelovecoach.com. And again, I'll pop that in the chat box for you guys just so that you have it. It's love@thelovecoach.com. And feel free to also grab me on that forum if there's a deeper question or something that comes up for you. So great. Looks like actually everybody's got a few comments just coming in, just saying thank you for the training. Makes sense. Feeling really good about, feeling more hopeful that I can do this. I love that. I love that. Getting some hope from that. Brilliant. Great. And I know it's Friday night, so I'm like deeply, deeply honored that you guys took your Friday night to come. We were planned for Wednesday. I'm really glad it didn't happen. I had a hard drive crash. I actually lost 2 years worth of content that I created. I had some tears over that today, I'll tell you. But life goes on, right? So in acceptance was also sadness, and in sadness there was acceptance. It's an irony of life, but it was it was a lot for me to show up today and just, but all I have to do is drop into my heart, into my commitment to myself, into this path. And you guys inspire me and keep me moving forward. And I hope to inspire you in return and keep you moving forward as well. So let's do that together and in community. With grace and love and total affection, know that you are worth being loved. You are worth being loved. And post that up as your mantra, as your knowing. Embrace it into your heart. Bring it into the fullness of your hope for what is possible. And baby step, mind shift by mind shift, support by support, you'll begin to know it and breathe it and live it until it transforms and shifts everything in your life. That you'll wake up and can't imagine that you feel as good as you do. And that is my intention and my hope for you. And I can't wait to deepen into conversation with you in other formats, other webinars within the community and in all different places. I love you. I see you. I acknowledge you. And I see your brilliance. And I appreciate you. So thank you, everyone. Have a beautiful and brilliant weekend and night. And I will connect with you later. Bye-bye.